This video is about analyzing tracked video files in LoliTrack 5 and getting the data output that we need. The analysis will be explained in two parts. First, we look at the parameters section, including how to customize the data overlay and set up zones and treatments. And in the second part, we explore how to use the built-in data graphs up here, how to export our data, and how to batch analyze multiple videos from the same setup. Let's get started. Once we have tracked our object, we are able to apply an arrangement of visual overlays to our video preview, and you can then export what you see here as a PNG image here or as an AVI video here. So applying overlays is a good way to illustrate the tracked data. And to change the overlay, open the Edit View Settings menu. The View Settings menu is divided into category tabs, and each tab has different options. Starting in the General tab, we will not explain every option here, as each option is somewhat self-explanatory, and you can always enable an option and hit OK to see the overlay in action. And if you do not want that overlay, just go back and disable it. In the Markers tab, you can select which markers or object tracking points to show. To get a visual representation of where the markers are located, head over to the Position Settings menu. The markers are points located along the midline of the object. So if you have not tracked a midline during tracking, you will only see the center of gravity marker, which is the center of gravity of the object pixels. And without a tracked midline, you also cannot export any data for these 3 points. But with a tracked midline, the point on the midline closest to the direction the object is moving is designated as the front, and the point furthest away is the back. And then you have the middle of the line here. The markers here do not only apply to fish, but to any tracked object. And note that we can select a point here in blue, and the settings below, which we will get to in a second, applies to this selected point. But the selected point is also what selected stands for back in the View Settings menu. Furthermore, the selected point will be highlighted in green in the video preview and the rest in red. The Trajectory tab is all about the trajectory or trail of the markers. If you cannot see the trajectories, go in here and check if the trajectory length or how many frames the trajectory is shown in is too low. Finally, the heat map is disabled by default, but enabling it gives you several customization options, and you can choose which parameter, like position or speed, the map should output. Again, the parameter type is based on the selected marker in the Position Settings menu. Going back to the Position Settings menu, you can select when an object is considered inside a zone. In the first option, the object is considered inside the zone when the selected position marker is inside the zone. If touching zone is selected, the object is inside the zone when any of the object pixels touches the zone. And if fully inside zone is selected, all of the object pixels must be inside the zone area. The activity threshold defines when the object is considered active. If set to 2, the selected position marker must move more than 2 pixels per frame to register object activity. And if the object is not considered active, the movement of the marker will not account towards distance moved, speed, and so forth. Adjusting the activity threshold is useful if you find that your position marker is jumping due to image noise, and so you can eliminate this false data. Smoothing creates a moving average of the position data, so the higher the number, the smoother the trajectory will be, and it will also smooth the actual data values in the exported data file. The exported midline points are additional position markers along the midline. The number here will determine how many points that should be included in the exported data file and how many that should be visible on the video preview, if midline points is enabled in the View Settings menu. Going back to zones, you can draw zones on the video preview, and each zone can have its own dataset in the exported data file. To draw a zone, select the Zone tool and then click and draw an area on the video preview, like you were drawing a mask. Adjust each anchor point to change the zone shape. If the zone does not show on the video preview, check that Zones is enabled in the View Settings menu. The numbers indicated along the sides are useful if you want to know what the zone dimensions correspond to in your actual setup, and these length units are based on the pixel calibration we created earlier. Up here, you can delete all zones, and if you want to save the zones as a file on your computer, do it here and load it back in here. Using arenas and treatments is another way to organize your data. An arena is any non-masked area on the video preview, so in our case, we have one, and we can change its name or label here. Yet, if we had multiple arenas, they would show in this list, and we could then assign a treatment to each arena from the treatment list. If we wanted to change the treatment name, open the Edit tab and change it here. And when all arenas and treatments are set up, save the configuration as a file here or load it back in here if needed. And that's it on how to customize overlays and organize your data in LoliTrack 5. In the last video, we will look at the remaining features in the Analysis tab, but if you have any questions about the analysis in LoliTrack 5 so far, or about other aspects of the software, you're welcome to contact us on our website.